We're going to talk about Folkestone now, which of course is on the front line of the migrant crisis. They have a huge 400-strong migrant centre there. It's a former barracks. It's called Napia Barracks. Caught fire at one point, but it's getting closed down as part of the termination of a £2 billion a year contract with a company called Stay Belvedere Hotels. Stay Belvedere Hotels apparently runs about 50 of the various places where migrants stay around the country, and it's responsible for about a quarter of the migrants and where they live when they're waiting for their decisions on their asylum applications. Now, they're losing their contract because apparently the current government has... This contract was made in 2019 with the Tory government, but the current government apparently has issues with the firm's behaviour, the hotel firm's behaviour. We're not quite sure what those issues are. But since 2019, for the residents of Folkestone, in the middle of their town, this barracks full of 400 migrants has caused, shall we say, problems, has caused problems. So I thought we'd go down and find out what life has been like down there on that lovely Kent seaside town's streets and talk to our friend Liam, who lives there and has alerted us to a number of migrant issues over the past. So welcome back to the show, Liam.
Hi, Kevin. Good to see you again.
Thank you for joining us. What has it been like having that migrant centre? Because I think that I looked this up. There's about sort of 60,000, 65,000 people live in Folkestone. So to suddenly have 400 foreigners just dumped upon you, imposed upon you, with nothing to do. Don't forget, they're not allowed to have jobs or anything like that. Many of them, the vast majority of them, of course, young working-age men, mostly between the age of about 18 and 35, with nothing to do all day. That must have caused problems for the town.
Well, it did. When Napier Barracks first opened in 2020, it suddenly opened. The residents around the Napier Barracks area weren't given any warning. 1 minute it was an empty camp, and then the next, within 24 hours, 400 young men kind of descended upon the town, and the locals were pretty shocked, as I was. They were clueless. There wasn't any consultation whatsoever. The local MP at the time, Damien Collins, didn't say anything, and then all of a sudden they were here, which, you know, Folkestone it was very noticeable very quickly.
And of course, you alerted. One of the things that you noticed fairly recently was more and more of these migrants going around with L plates, getting driving lessons. That's when you brilliantly established that Kent County Council over the past year has spent more than £20,000 giving free driving lessons and free driving tests to these people, mainly staying in the Napier Barracks, which in itself is a strange scandal, I would say. Well, I mean, I know we've covered this story, but yeah, to be an asylum seeker is a temporary condition. To give people driving lessons with a view to taking their tests sort of preempts the fact that they're going to stay forever. I mean, it's almost as if the Kent Council has made the decision that these asylum seekers will be allowed to stay, so let's give them free driving lessons. So that's one thing that you noticed. But you must see lots of... I gather you sent us some pictures of the park across the road from the barracks. That's where all these young guys hang around, I assume.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, Kevin, what it is there's nothing to do around Napier Barracks. There really isn't. There's a playing field, there's a big Tesco, and that's it. There really isn't much more. It's based in a place called Cheriton, which is just a couple of miles from the centre of town. There's nothing for them to do rather than go to the park, whereby a lot of littering takes place. I went up to Napier Barracks this afternoon because I know I was coming on your show, and I spoke to quite a few of the residents, local residents, just around in the near area, and they said that littering is the major problem, but also the intimidation. They feel like they were left in the dark. As I alluded to at the start here, they were kept in the dark. They were told it was only going to be temporary. They were sent a letter saying it was only going to be there for a couple of years. And now here we are 5 years down the line, and Napier Barracks is still open. I believe it's soon to be closed, but there was a lot of concern, and the locals around that area have, and they smoke, they drink, and basically they're not so much cause a nuisance, but they just feel left out, and they haven't been listened to.
Yeah, and I mean, there's been question marks about the actual conditions in there. Some of the pictures I've seen inside don't look particularly special. It does look a bit dilapidated because it was a sort of disused barracks, wasn't it? So they've been putting these people in the Napier Barracks, and some of them been complaining. I mean, I saw one Syrian migrant saying, "Oh, if I'd have known I'd have to stay in a place like this, I never would have come here." I thought, well, yeah, that would be good.
Well, there was a story which came out a couple of months ago, and I've just got the report here, and it was according to it was a recent report by the Independent Chief Inspector of Borders and Immigration, which basically said that Napier was actually a pull factor because there was a safe and secure thing, that the knowledge that there was a maximum length of stay has actually had a positive impact on service users because they can't stay in Napier Barracks for any longer than 90 days before they get accommodation. So rather than go and sit and languish in hotels for how many odd months, they know that within 90 days you can go to Napier and then you'll be moved on to, an HMO, for example. So he said that this is from the report itself. They told inspectors they'd asked for their friends to be moved from hotels to Napier because of the maximum length of stay policy and the degree of certainty that it provided. The site actually has a 5-star food and hygiene rating, has a positive experience, and they meet cultural events to foster a positive and relaxed atmosphere where service users and staff could mingle and dine together. So actually Napier was quite a pull factor over recent months.
Yeah,
Sorry, I have to say it's actually that bad. It's beyond me.
Yeah, but I read, you sent me some stuff, and apparently the food at Napier is very good. And as you say, if you get put into Napier, I mean, they're going to close it, they say, in September. But knowing the migrant crisis, I'll believe that when I see it. You never can tell. It's very much a movable feast. But the 90-day time limit means that they feel that they'll be moved to proper housing after 90 days, and therefore their situation will become more permanent. So good food, the guarantee of getting good housing after 90 days. Napier was a popular place, or is a popular place, for migrants to go, which means you people who live in Folkestone, have got 400 migrants milling around for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, it's the fact that there's nothing to do, and you see, when I was actually speaking to people earlier on today, they were saying that, right, where will they go now? It's a local community, so if you look at, say, in Wethersfield, people are reluctant to speak, and obviously the people I'm speaking to don't want to be on camera or anything,
No,
but they're
sure.
saying. But the sense of relief, Kev, the sense of relief that it's finally closing is tantamount to but they feel like left in the dark, but they're glad it's ending, but they feel sorry for where they might end up next.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, where do you think they might be moved? I mean, presumably it'd be around Kent or something, because I believe there's. I remember from your driving instruction story, there's like 5,500 migrants living in Kent. So presumably these people at the Napier will just be moved to some other bit of Kent.
Well, that's it. But also, as I said, HMOs, houses of multiple occupancy. That it's what really kind of gets on my YouTube a lot of people that really feel that it grinds their gears is that they are pushed higher up the housing list. So whereby they might have been striving their whole lives working and they want their kids to, get on the property ladder or at least because many of them are beholden to landlords and they'd love to be in social housing. But when they are put down the queue in favour of people that, let's be honest, don't actually have a real right to be here and for housing, it really kind of gets their go.
Let's have a look at you. So you must actually in Folkestone, if you head down to the beach or the cliff tops there, you must be able to see them coming across quite often. Since last Wednesday, I think it is, that was the 19th of March. I will give you the day-by-day tally that have been coming across. 289, 341, 246, 241. So this is Saturday. That was 241 on Saturday, 335 on Sunday, a relatively modest 73 yesterday. This is yesterday only one boat, 6 boats on Sunday, 4 on Saturday. There were 6 boats last Thursday, another 341 came across. I mean, you must be able to see them coming across day in, day out.
Yeah, well, on a clear day, you can. On a clear day, usually, I know that something is happening because I use an app, or sometimes you can hear the air sea rescue helicopter, and that might be 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Also, you can kind of judge if it's going to be a busy day with regard to when you're actually looking at the channel itself. But with regard to the figures here, the highest March on record was last March, and that was 3,180. We're currently standing at 3,861. Okay, we've still got another a good old 10 days or so, 7 days or whatever, till April. We're on 3,861. I think this March alone, we're going to hit around about 5,000. So, and this is another little statistic for you. In 2024, for January, February, and March, the highest number on record was 5,435. We're already at 6,000. So if we carry on at this trajectory, Kevin, we're going to hit 50,000 by the end of the year.
Yeah, and I've got a feeling, Liam, that we might end up with about 60,000, which will be, I mean, if 50,000 is going to be a world record, 60,000 will be off the scale. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. And the reason is, of course, there's no deterrence. This is even worse than when Rishi was in power.
Exactly. If you look at how many have come across since Keir Starmer's got in, we're looking at the minute, 29,162 on 530 boats. Okay, 29,162. That is over 600 more than in the whole year of 2021, and it's just 275 less than the whole of 2023. He's only been in for 7 months and 17 odd days.
The man is a disaster. But, you know, everybody around the country, when we know this at Talk, people are very energised about this, very angry about it, very concerned that more and more people are coming to this country illegally and being allowed to stay. In a place like Folkestone, right there on the front line, it must be particularly worrying to you all.
Well, I mean, I've been covering this on my channel for 5 odd years, but I've noticed in the past year or so, people are starting to wake up a little bit, and that's through no fault of their own. It's because the amount of young men, let's call it what it is, the amount of young men that are coming into their communities, and they're seeing their towns and cities and streets actually change, whether that be car washes or barbershops or nail bars, etc., etc. And they are starting to think, hang on a minute, but it's happening right here every single day. And that's the reason why I'm so passionate about it. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to just express it, really.
Well, I'll tell you what's good about it is first of all, you unearthed a great story, a shocking story, but journalistically a very good story, a powerful story about the driving lessons that your money is being used, your council tax money is being used to spend on, free lessons and tests for migrants, which is kind of weird. And this is happening all over the country. So I'm very interested in that, but very interested in what it must be like to be there right on the front line. I mean, it must be the whole migrant crisis to people in places like Folkestone, Dover, Deal. It's palpable. You see it. You see these people landing on the beaches. You know what it's like. People who live inland, they're not really in touch with it, but you are seeing it day in, day out. And you'll know this, Liam. Here comes your summer of discontent, because when the weather gets good, they really start coming across. It's like the Spanish Armada, only it's the Calais Armada. So, yeah, stand by for the evasion over the summer, yeah?
It's in the summer, you're looking, you can see some days it's going to be well over 1,000. That's a busy
1,000 in a day, 1,000 in a day. And what is this government doing about it? Oh, I know, absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Well, listen, Liam, always a pleasure to talk to you. Keep up the good work. We'll stay in touch, and I intend you to be a regular guest on this show. That's Liam T down in Folkestone.